welcome back in the building for the greatest summer in Liverpool's transfer history, at least the moments I've been freaking alive. You guys, we are on fire this transfer market. What is going on? We went for a record Premier League deal to sign Florian Wirtz, the most sought after talent that was available in Europe. We then went and signed an incredible fullback pairing in Milos Kerkez and Jeremy Frimpong. And what have we done now? Before even selling Darwin Núñez, we've gone and signed a striker for a fee that could potentially reach 95 million euros. We are not messing about. How's everybody feeling in the building? This is freaking crazy. These are crazy times to be alive, guys. This is another signing of intent. This is FSG, Edwards, Hughes, Arnislot, Liverpool Football Club telling the whole footballing world we want to dominate. We want to continue to take things to another level after already becoming Premier League champions last season. This is what I mean when I say we mean business. Yes, it's true that we've been linked with Hugo Ekitike for a while, okay? That is true. We've been linked. Big up SMA Cars. Guys, we've been linked with him for a while, but here's the thing. It was only 4 days ago that reliable rumors started to appear on Hugo Ekitike. It was 4 days ago. I literally have the post here because you guys know I'm on top of these things. This is the post. And so this is the first time that we seriously were looking at him. It was from David Ornstein, who says Liverpool contact Frankfurt over the possible signing for Hugo Ekitike, who was being heavily targeted by Newcastle at that time. 4 days ago. Within 4 days, not only do we get Newcastle to immediately step out of the race, because once we came seriously into the race, Hugo Ekitike immediately said, no thank you Newcastle, I just want Liverpool. That's been reported by all the most journalists now. All the most reliable journalists. He only wants Liverpool, but it's not just that, you guys. We got the deal wrapped up in 4 days. 4 days we got this deal wrapped up. You can say what you want about Hugo Ekitike, but trust me, he was one of the most sought after attackers this summer. Chelsea wanted him. Look, Newcastle wanted him. United wanted him. Many top clubs wanted him. Hugo Ekitike, and we've gone and got it done in 4 freaking days, you guys. Guys, let's talk about the fee, okay? Let's talk about the fee because I see that's what all of you are bringing up, saying he's not worth these 95 million euros. Let me first off, just to tell you realistically, what his fee is up front, okay? That's very important to know what his fee is up front. Because that 95 million euros that you see, that 95 million euros is just if all of his add-ons are met, okay? But the fixed fee is 69 million pounds, okay? That's the fixed fee, 69 million pounds. What does that mean? He's about half the price of what Alexander Isak would cost, okay? And I understand you can't compare the two because Alexander Isak is elite and proven in the Premier League, but he's still around half the price of what it would cost to get Alexander Isak. That's just to put some perspective for those of you saying, oh, we should have just gone Alexander Isak or waited for him. Bro, it's half the price. And here's the other thing. When we talk about that 95 million euro fee, that's if those add-ons are triggered. And guess what? The good news is if those add-ons are met, it's good news for Liverpool because I'll bet you some of those add-ons is if Liverpool wins the Champions League, if he scores 25 Premier League goals in a season, different add-ons that would prove that he becomes a successful signing for Liverpool. So in my opinion, if it gets to that 95 million euro fee, it means he ends up becoming a top signing for Liverpool. And obviously that's what we all want. So the fee is being exaggerated. That I think is important to note. But I'm not going to lie, it is a lot of money, 69 million pounds, when he's only had really 1 to 2 great seasons. You know what I mean? But again, the fact that we've been linked with him for a while, and the fact that Michael Edwards signed off on this, the fact that Richard Hughes, who's one of the best sporting directors in the world, has looked at him and said he's worth that. Why? Because I believe, from everything I've heard and I've listened to more Bundesliga experts, he's not the type of striker where you can just look at his stats. And what I mean by stats is his goals and assists. I believe they see him as more of a false nine type of striker who's going to open up space for inside forward wingers like Mohamed Salah, like Cody Gakpo, potentially another winger that will bring in if Luis Diaz leaves. So I believe they see him as a Bobby Firmino. Now, again, I don't want to mention Bobby Firmino because I don't want them to be compared because that's just not fair. I'm just going to say more false nine. I believe they think he brings so much off the ball in the immediate term. And then I believe they think he can take his finishing to another level at Liverpool. Just like Alexander Isak, if you looked at him at Real Sociedad before, his numbers were not like they were at his Newcastle numbers. So they believe he has that ceiling he can rise to. He just turned 23, so he's very, very young. And I believe they look at all of that and they believe he's worth that feat. Because again, in the short term, I believe they think that he's going to deliver in ways that are not just goals and assists. And then I believe they think in the long term, he can deliver in the goals and assists part of his game. That's my personal belief. And that's why I think they've said, you know what, he's worth that fee. Because we know our recruitment team are not the type to just blow tons of cash like Chelsea on big risks and not really follow through on those risks, you know, and not be confident that they will be successful. What about financial fair play? Guys, this is another one to mention, okay? And I just want to say I'm really, really glad that actually it seems like financial fair play, but I will call it more PSR. It seems like it is strict. So I understand some of you guys having some doubts in terms of PSR. Like, is this not going to put us in financial trouble with how much we've spent this summer? But guys, you must remember, we haven't spent in previous windows. Like when you look at the last 3 windows, we spent little to nothing. And then on top of that, we're going to have lots more outgoings to come. I think 3 players that could potentially leave this summer, where there's a good chance of them leaving, that I think will bring in major funds, is 1, Darwin Núñez. I think he could end up in Saudi. 2, Luis Diaz seems like he wants to leave. Bayern Munich are preparing another bid. Saudi also really want Luis Diaz. So I think Luis Diaz could do it. So those 2 players will bring in major funds. I think Lucho, it could be up to 80 million. And Darwin, if it's Saudi, could be 70 million. So we're talking about potentially 150 million for Darwin and Lucho. Okay, that's number 1. Then I think Harvey Elliott will leave this summer and we'll get 40 to 50 million for him. And Tyler Morton will leave this summer. I think we'll get around 10 million for him. So just those 4 players alone that for me are pretty much guaranteed to leave, that'll be around 200 million. That's what I mean. When you guys are talking about PSR, you guys are forgetting the outgoings that are about to happen. And all of those players I just mentioned, there are many reliable rumors saying that they're wanted in the market, you know? So it's not just me being delusional saying, we're going to sell these players, but like there's actual interest. Like I said, West Ham apparently really want to sign Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton. Luis Diaz is really wanted by Bayern Munich and Saudi. And I know Darwin to Napoli is no longer happening because they signed another striker, but Saudi want Darwin. So in my opinion, those 4 are very likely to leave this summer. And that's what I mean in terms of major funds that will be coming in to help with the PSR side of things, you know? And guys, I mentioned those 4 players. That's not to mention that we've already raised 48 million in pure profit this summer. Why? Kelleher went to Brentford for 18 million. Trent went to Real Madrid for 10 million because they got him early for the Club World Cup. That's 28 million pounds. And then Kwanzaa left for around 30 million to Leverkusen. So just those 3 alone that we've sold this summer, that's around 48 million. And again, it's 48 million net profit, which is huge for PSR. And what do I mean by net profit? All 3 of them came for our academy. All 3. So that means all 3 of those players, we got them for 0 and we sold them for 48 million. So for PSR, that puts us in a very, very healthy position. So that's just to answer some of you guys that had doubts or worries about the financial position of our club. But don't you worry about that because like I just mentioned, that's 48 million that's already in. And then those other players I mentioned, I think will be outgoings. Not to mention as well, I think Costas will leave. Either Costas or Robbo. There's no way we're going to have 3 senior left backs. So all of that I just mentioned is major funds that will be coming in to put us in a very healthy position, you guys.